for Italian music, launching careers and defining the sound of a nation for decades to come. We're going to explore how this ambitious idea, born from a need for cultural revival, managed to capture the heart of a country still finding its feet. But first, we need to understand the world Sanremo was born into. Italy in 1951 was a nation still digging itself out from the rubble of World War II. The country needed more than just new buildings. It desperately needed a new voice, a new cultural identity. Radio was the undisputed king of media, the only thing connecting families across the entire peninsula. Yet Italian music felt threatened, pushed aside by the popular American swing and jazz that was flooding the airwaves. The festival was conceived as a deliberate act of cultural defense, a way to reclaim and dignify the traditional Italian song. It was a mission to distract, to entertain, and most importantly, to unite a country searching for a fresh start. This cultural urgency set the stage for the man with the vision. The need for a cultural anchor was clear, but the vision for Sanremo came from an unlikely source, a flower merchant named Amilcar Rambaldi. Rambaldi was a local entrepreneur, not a music executive, but he had a powerful, pragmatic goal: use a major cultural event to draw tourists to Sanremo during the slow winter months. He wasn't the first to think of a national song festival. A similar attempt in Viareggio had failed just a few years earlier. But Rambaldi saw that failure as proof of concept, not a warning. He understood that music could be the engine of a city's rebirth, and he tirelessly championed his idea until the right people were ready to listen. But a vision needs architects to build it. Rambaldi had the dream, but it took a coalition of powerful figures to make it real. Pier Bussetti, the casino manager, was the pragmatist who signed the checks and provided the venue. Giulio Razzi, the director of R8I, was the artistic powerhouse who ensured the festival had national reach through the radio. Angelo Nisa, the press officer, was the promoter who generated the crucial early buzz. And then you had the faces and voices. Nunzio Filogamo, the elegant host whose style set the standard for decades, and Maestro Chinico Angelini, who led the orchestra that defined the era's sound. Together, these men laid the foundation for a cultural institution. Now let's look at the setting they chose for this grand experiment. The organizers chose the elegant Salon del Feste inside the Sanremo Casino, but the atmosphere was far from a formal concert hall. Guests sat at tables, dining and drinking, making the event feel more like a sophisticated café chantant. The dates, January 29th to 31st, were chosen strategically. Monday through Wednesday, the casino's quietest days. The goal was to fill the house when it was normally empty. The format was simple. 20 songs competed over 3 nights, with the audience in the hall casting ballots to decide the winners. It was officially described as just a series of pleasant interludes, but this low-key format masked the revolutionary nature of what was about to happen. Now let's meet the 3 brave souls who first. The festival was a small affair at first, and the organizers had a limited budget, which meant only 3 acts performed all 20 songs. Nilla Pizzi, the undisputed queen of the first festival, had a versatile, emotional voice that could handle everything from dramatic ballads to lighter tunes. Then you had Achille Togliani, the handsome baritone who brought a classic crooner style, appealing directly to the female audience listening at home. Finally, the duo Fasano, twin sisters Dina and Delfina, provided the necessary harmony and rhythm for the more upbeat, swing-inspired numbers. These 3 voices were the entire soundscape of the first Sanremo, a unique arrangement that would never be repeated. They were the pioneers who proved that a national song contest could work. Now let's look at the songs they performed. Out of the 300 songs submitted, only 20 made the cut, and they perfectly captured the simple post-war Italian spirit. The titles themselves tell a story of nostalgia, nature, and everyday life. La Luna si veste d'argento, Serenata a nessuno, and Al mercato di pizzigettone. These songs were not complex political statements. They were familiar, simple melodies that spoke to the heart of the average Italian family. The sheer volume of submissions proved that the Italian music community was hungry for this kind of platform. It was a clear sign that the festival was already tapping into a deep cultural need. But only one song could take the top prize. The song that captured the nation's imagination and won the first festival was Nila Pizzi's Grazie dei fiori. This simple, emotional ballad didn't just win, it dominated, scoring 50 votes, a full 20 points ahead of the runner-up. The commercial success was immediate and staggering. Over 36,000 copies of the 78 RPM record sold right away, a massive number for the time. This proved that while the casino hall might have been half empty, the Italian public was absolutely listening at home. Families gathered around their radios, and the next day everyone was humming the tune. This was the moment the festival proved its power to create a national hit. But even this triumph was marked by a few. The first festival was a mix of high art and hilarious amateurism, producing some legendary behind-the-scenes moments. The most famous gaffe involved the presenter, Nunzio Filogamo, who was known for his warm radio greeting, "My dear friends near and far." He delivered this line to a microphone that was only broadcasting to the hall, not the radio audience, creating an awkward silence among the live guests. Then there was the irony of the City of Flowers having no flowers for the winner. Organizers had to quickly strip carnations from the hall's decorations to create a makeshift bouquet for Nila Pizzi. These small details show the improvised, enthusiastic spirit of the first event. It was a grand idea executed on a shoestring budget, but those human moments are what make the story so rich. The first Sanremo Festival started quietly, but its impact was anything but small. We see that the first night was a slow start. The audience was polite, but they were mostly focused on their dinner, not the music. This initial indifference was a real concern for the organizers, but the radio changed everything. Once the live broadcast hit the airwaves, the nation was captivated. By the third night, the casino was packed, and people were literally clamoring outside to get in. This immediate massive response confirmed the vision. The commercial success of the records followed instantly, proving that the Italian song had found its new permanent home. The organizers didn't hesitate. They confirmed the 1952 edition the very next day. What began as a small local distraction had instantly become a national tradition. But the man who started it all, Amilcare Rambaldi, wasn't finished with his dreams for Italian music. The success of the festival was undeniable, but for its original visionary, Amilcare Rambaldi, the story wasn't over. By the 1970s, Sanremo had become a massive commercial machine, often prioritizing catchy pop over true artistic depth. Rambaldi felt the quality song was losing its space, so he pursued a second dream, founding the Club Tenco in 1972. This new movement was named after Luigi Tenco, the brilliant, troubled songwriter who tragically took his life at the 1967 festival. The Club Tenco's mission was to promote the canzone d'autore, the author's song, a place where poetry and music could thrive without commercial pressure. Rambaldi essentially created a sanctuary for musical poetry, a necessary counterpoint to the market-driven showcase that Sanremo had become. This duality is a key part of his legacy, and it reminds us that the festival's impact goes far beyond just one stage. From that modest winter event in 1951, the festival became a national institution that fundamentally changed Italy. It served as a powerful force for cultural unification. It helped standardize the Italian language and created a shared national songbook that finally united generations from the north to the south. The festival became a social mirror. Every edition reflected the era's struggles and triumphs, from the post-war reconstruction to the economic boom years. And finally, it became a global icon. It exported the concept of the Italian melody to the world, influencing events like Eurovision and launching countless international stars. It all started with a simple idea in 1951, proving that sometimes the most profound changes begin with a song